to somebody that doesn't usually do that, that's a big step. Okay? I myself, I am not a jumper. I am not a dancer. That's just not me usually. So when I jump, that's abnormal for me. That's really taking it to another level. Now, I'm not saying you guys need to come after church and tell me, Brother Rick, you jump amazingly. Okay, I'm not worried about that. But exactly, right? But I'm not worried about that. But when, you have new people coming into the church, okay, they're not used to this stuff.
Right.
So, they're clapping their hands. After church, it was great to see you worshiping, clapping your hands and praising God. Tell them how important that is. Because if you don't, they're just going to think, well, I guess maybe that's not important to God. Maybe it's not important. And when you're encouraging them, they will grow. They will learn that this isn't about how I feel. This is about pleasing God. This isn't about what other people think of me. But it does help when you're starting out to have that positive reinforcement. When somebody new starts singing on the platform, encourage them. You did a great job tonight. Even if they didn't, you gave great effort tonight. See what I mean? You change one word because, maybe they did terrible. Maybe they were totally off key the whole time. But they're probably giving it their all. So encourage them for that. Always be there to encourage each other. Don't tear each other down. Somebody messes up, don't rip them apart for it. They hit the wrong note. Don't, just completely bash their head in and, not talk to them the next 3 weeks. And this is a little bit harder for music directors because you notice those kind of things. When I'm up there and somebody hits the wrong note, they typically do get the look where, what was that? What are you doing? I'll look over there and be like, switch notes. I'm whispering under my breath, like shaking my head. And then, oh, yeah, I'm supposed to be on that note. So they get it figured out. But let me tell you, I hit wrong notes. And usually that expression is, what did I just do that for? You try to not show it, but sometimes you just can't help it. It's like, I just start laughing. Honestly, sometimes I just start laughing. Right up there in the platform. Like, I totally just played the wrong chord. And 5 minutes ago, I shot Dion a little bit of a look because I'm like, what are you doing? You're on the wrong note. And, here I am. Oops. My bad. So it goes around, right? So be there and encourage, and don't take those little things and tear somebody down over them. This one is important too because it helps keep you humble. If you spend more time building somebody else up, you're going to have less time to work on to talk about yourself. If you spend more time, you look at a conversation, what drives you nuts? When you're talking to somebody and the only thing they can talk about is them. If you spend more time talking about the other person, that's less time you spend talking about you. So that keeps you humble. So that is important. And tying into this last one, step 5 is to keep a humble spirit. One of the things that heavily affects the church is a prideful spirit. When you start thinking that you are all that, what we talked about earlier, the church can't move forward without you, you've got a problem. Because, like I said before, God will move right around you and use someone that maybe you think is less qualified. If say for instance, there are multiple other singers and musicians in my church. So what if one of them were to be like, well, they can't sing as good as me, so I don't have anything to worry about. But they start to get to that point, I tell you right now, you're sitting down. And they will be up in your spot. And I will train them Because I want somebody that's going to work with me. This is from a leadership standpoint. Okay? If I'm up there and you're giving me a hard time, you're not going to listen and you're not going to work with me, I'll find somebody who will. Because that is what's more important. If you're up there just to be up there, I'm going to get somebody who's up there because they want to worship. Who's going to give their all. You know, do I still maintain and try to keep that professional stance? We practice. Because I believe that you should give God your best. That to me does not mean that you just get up and throw it to the wind and hope He takes care of it. That to me means you put your best effort into it, you work, you practice, and then God will anoint it on top of that. And He will bless that and use that. Because that is important. As people, we are heavily affected by the flow of things. Something goes wrong, instantly our mind goes somewhere else. I believe it's the same for all people. And in the U.S., this is a major issue. If there are big gaps in the service, you can kiss it goodbye. Because something must be wrong. Because it didn't flow straight through. Something must be wrong because there was a hiccup here, or there shouldn't have been one. So that's why, my team, that's why we practice. Our church music team, that's why we practice. Because you don't want to get up there and trash the song. Because that will affect the spirit of worship. Okay, God will do whatever He wants to do, and He can do whatever He wants to do through anything. Okay, you can totally train wreck it, and God will still pull it out. But that doesn't mean you should do it. If you can prevent it, prevent it. Okay? So, put your effort in there, but be humble. Okay? Remember that He wants that availability in a humble way. You can't be constantly banging on the door, Pastor, use me because I'm really good at this. Little side note here. If you're available, be available. Not, I'm applying for this position, and this position only, not those ones. Right. Because sometimes being available means being on the platform. Sometimes being available means cleaning the bathrooms. Right. Sometimes being available means cutting the grass, mowing the lawn, taking out the trash, doing the dishes. Availability is not only for a specific position. Okay, this isn't a worldly job where, I'm available Monday through Friday, somewhere between the hours of 8 and 6. You don't give God this list of, here are my open dates. You say, God, you know what? Whenever you want to use me, whatever position you want to use me in, whether it's teaching the little kids, whether it's preaching a sermon, each one of those is just as important. Whether it's taking out the trash or preaching the sermon, both of those are important, especially to your pastor. Because if you take out the trash, that means he doesn't have to, and he could put more time into praying and studying to give you the Word of God. If you wash the bus, if you clean up the yard, if you clean up the church, he doesn't have to. This is a big thing actually I've noticed since the last time we were here, is you guys that are coming up and driving the buses now. That is awesome. That is a ministry. Okay, that is being available. Because now, brother and sister Smith don't have to do that. Because I was here before when they had to do all that running around, and it's crazy. If you've ever been involved closely with a pastor's family, it can be chaos. Because if you're responsible for everything and nobody else is willing to do it, you have to do it all. Which means you have to pray, you have to study for the service Then you have to get dressed hours beforehand to go run around and pick people up, to run back into the church, to go up and preach the sermon. So by the time he got up there, he's all worn out already. So you guys stepping up have taken that from him. You've taken that responsibility. You've made yourself available and said, here, Pastor, I'll deal with this. You do what you need to do. You can take care of something like that. Let him know. Take care of it. Don't wait, okay? If the trash needs to go out, I struggle with this at home sometimes. If the trash needs to go out, don't wait till somebody tells you to do it. Okay? Take the initiative, be a man, be a woman, and do it. Okay? Yes, let's give a hand clap. A little bit of a swing there. But Lucifer, okay, remember him. He was the chief musician. He was the top dog. Okay, he reflected the glory of God. And somewhere along the line, he started seeing that glory as his glory. Right. And he got kicked out. We do the same thing. Okay, we are here to reflect the glory of God, for him to move through us. Once we start thinking, I'm doing good, that went over really well. I must, really got him going. I'm doing really well. I'm awesome. I can speak very clearly because they all understand me. You start looking at it that way, see ya. That's just the way it is. Don't end up like Lucifer. If we could all stand. At some point, we are all most likely going to or already facing this giant. Something we deal with as humans, and we must be able to take him down. This giant can taunt you, oppress you to keep you in that corner, or he can relax you and keep you in that safe area where it doesn't really affect him too much. He can deal with it. Or he can encourage you and pull you right off that cliff with him. So this one is scary, because if he can't convince you to be disappointed with yourself, he'll convince you to be comfortable where you are and not move forward. If you manage to make it through that part, then he starts pulling you to take you off the other end. So this one can really go back and forth on you. So you have to pay attention. Pray. He does not want us to succeed. He wants you to stay under his thumb. He wants you to stay where he wants you to be. But we have to persevere and beat this giant. Okay, I want everybody to say, I am a child of God.
I am a child of God.
Say it again. Come on. I am a child of God.
I am a child of God.
Is that all of you got? I am a child of God.
I am a child of God.
There we go. That's better. All right. I think that's it for today. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm worn out. So go forward, be humble, encourage yourself, encourage others. Okay? Remember those things. If you need those things, Brother Alex actually asked me last night to email him something from yesterday. If you need those things, let me know. I'll be glad to list them out for you and send them to you, because I know, I forget 5 minutes after I walk away from here what I even taught about. So I'm sure you guys probably forget too. Or maybe I'm just weird. But anyway, so you are dismissed.